Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Twisted Metal 3, Part 1. So this time we're playing, Twisted Metal 3 as if it isn't obvious, and this is pretty much the third game of the Twisted Metal series. It's considered by many to be the black sheep of the Twisted Metal series, the one game, or two games you can Twisted Metal 4, that they want you to forget about. We're playing as Thumper.
I've been fighting for more than 10 years, from the streets of LA to the far corners of the earth. I'm gonna bring some respect back to South Central. After I bust some heads in this contest, I'll kick it with my homies in the crib.
So off the bat, we already see one of the biggest problems of this game. They put voiceovers for the info screens, which is really unnecessary. It was kind of annoying, and the voice acting is kind of annoying. And the other worst part about this game, the reason why a lot of people hate this game, is the storylines suck.
Well, Twisted Metal. Your first battleground will be the once pristine city of Angels. It's been only 18 months since the great quake in 2007 left the city in rubble. May the piss continue.
And so here's our first level, our first battleground. We're fighting in Hollywood, pretty much, or what's left of Hollywood from a major catastrophic disaster that happened in 2007. Apparently in this game there's a really big disaster in 2007, which is why there wasn't a Twisted Metal contest in that year. So they skipped a year. Before 2 years ago, we were in Twisted Metal 2, which was on December 24th of 2006. It is now December 24th, 2008, and we're competing in Twisted Metal 3. Bruce Cochran returns as Thumper. One of the biggest problems with this game is the storyline. Bruce Cochran had a really good story in the first Twisted Metal. He was a guy from the South LA that wanted to bring justice to his homeworld because it was filled with crime and villainy. So he competes in Twisted Metal, risks his life, sacrifices his life, so he could get just that. But this time around, he seems like he's in it just for the hell of it. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to this contest and I'm going to fight to bust some heads and kick some ass and stuff like that, and kicking my homies in the crib afterwards. That's kind of the attitude he has in this game, which doesn't really make much sense. And again, nothing in this game really makes any sense. That's what 989 was like. This is the first time that a Twisted Metal game was made by a company that didn't have the original creators. It was made by 989 over some dispute with Single Track. People made the first two games, so Twisted Metal games, so they got 989 to make this one, and 989 didn't really understand Twisted Metal, but in 989's defense, they were put up with an incredible challenge. They had big shoes to fill, and they couldn't use the engine from the first two Twisted Metals, so instead they had to build their own engine, a new engine right from scratch. Supposedly it was derived from the engine they used from Rallycross, which is a racing game that 989 made sometime earlier. 989 was a pretty credited company for making this game. They actually made some pretty good games. They worked on some good games too, and worked on stuff too. They worked on 2 Extreme, I think, and they worked on some other stuff too, mostly sports games, but they had some pretty good stuff too. I actually kind of liked some of the stuff they made, like some of the 2 Extreme and stuff like that.
Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. The last pristine city in a country devastated by the flood. Top U.S. officials protected from intruders by the massive turret walls. I hope they don't mind the fireworks.
So now we're in Washington, D.C. This level has aged like fine wine, because Washington is always under fire. The president never cares about anything. So, yeah, it makes sense that this would happen. You could tell Joe Biden that there's a contest going on in his front lawn right now that involves cars destroying each other with missiles and weapons and stuff like that, and be like, oh, that's good, Sonny. That's good, Sonny. Something else that people complain about this game a lot too is that all the cars in this game, the characters and the animatic and the what you call the animations, they all look like toys. They look like action figures. It's hard to take a game seriously and everything looks like action figures, right? Looks like toys and action figures. That's what this whole game looks like. I have a toy that looks like Augur in real life. Pretty sure I have a toy that looks like the Thumper car we're driving right now. An Outlaw looks like a police car that came from McDonald's Happy Meal a long time ago. All the cars in this game look like frickin' toys. No wonder why people don't take this game seriously. People consider this game to be more like a parody of Twisted Metal than opposed to an actual Twisted Metal game. That's what 989 was like. They just made parodies of Twisted Metal. That's what people consider this very game to be. And Twisted Metals 1 and 2 are the 2 real Twisted Metal games. And this game was shifted out of the main continuity of the Twisted Metal series by Twisted Metal Head-On. Twisted Metal Head-On on the PSP in 2005 is the true Twisted Metal 3, and this game is just some non-canon entry in the series that the creators want people to forget about. But yeah, despite that, they still acknowledge this game even though they want people to forget about it. They actually took some influence from this game too, and same with Twisted Metal 4, and yet those same people also made Twisted Metal Small Brawl, and they never wanted people to forget about, and they never seem to mention that one at all. They're actually doing a much better job at having people forget about Twisted Metal Small Brawl than Twisted Metal 3 and 4. One of the biggest differences in the engine they use is the physics. The physics in this game work completely different from it did in the first two games.
You're not getting off that easy. Darkseid has returned, and he's out for blood. Yours. Defeat him or die.
So yep, you heard, now we're going after Darkseid. Remember Darkseid from the original Twisted Metal? He's back, and he's a boss this time around. It just randomly shows up, well, not randomly, he just shows up in Washington, D.C. for absolutely no reason at all. He hates Calypso. When he won the original Twisted Metal, he wished he could take away that thing Calypso uses to grant his wishes with. There's some demon named Black. And yeah, in this game, he's like Calypso's friend in this game, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'll help Calypso make sure those people don't win the contest, and yeah, that is that. He's actually really easy to beat if you just use a lot of homing missiles and keep your distance and shoot a lot of homing missiles at him. Darkseid's pretty easy to defeat in this game.
Welcome to Hangar 18. After the U.S. government banished all people from Hangar 18, I dropped by and took a look around. I'd say the UFO is quite a find. For its defense system, it's most powerful.
And so now we're in Area 51 right now. This is supposedly where the aliens that shot down that plane in the original Twisted Metal went to, supposedly. This is the only time we ever see aliens in every time, except for the first game. This is the only time we see aliens in Twisted Metal. And apparently it has something to do with that flight recorder box that Crimson Fury and Warthog were fighting over in the original Twisted Metal. This game often seems like it could have been the original Twisted Metal, considering how much of a downgrade this game feels when you compare it to Twisted Metal 2. Bottom line, this game pretty much is the same thing Twisted Metal 2 was, but just not as good. That's why it seems more like it could have been the original Twisted Metal in a way. It does seem like a primitive downgrade over like the first two. Does seem like a backtrack, like a like a downgrade, like something it should have come first. I said the same thing. I said the same thing about Jet Moto Pre, because Single Track also made Jet Moto, and 989 made Jet Moto Pre, because for the same reason 989 had to make Twisted Metal 3 and 4. So they made Jet Moto Pre, and Jet Moto Pre felt like a major downgrade over the first two Jet Motos. Or another way to put it, it's still kind of just the same thing Jet Moto 2 is, but not as good. That phrase describes most of 989 stuff pretty good. It's just so different from what the previous thing was, but it's not as good. There's a gimmick at this level. Every level in this game has most levels in this game has some kind of gimmick where you can find like a special weapon that's exclusive to the level, and you activate it in time. It can really do catastrophic, devastating damage to your opponents. And so we'll get that. I also noticed too, they made Thumper's car look more purpley in this game. He probably got sick of driving a pink car like Homer Simpson, so he wanted a car that made him look less like Homer Simpson. So, like that. And they put flower power, so it's supposed to be some sort of like 60s hippie chick that wants to save wildlife and stuff like that. I just realized now the three opponents I'm fighting against this level are three of the new contestants they introduced in this game. They introduced some new contestants. There's Augur, Firestarter, Flower Power, and Club Kid. Augur is pretty much poor man's Mr. Slam. No, not really. He's actually better than Mr. Slam in a lot of ways. Augur's one of the few good contestants created by 989. And so we just destroyed him because, he sucks. We're so much better. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.